Welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Kelsey Kiesling.
And I'm Kendra Cook. Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV with support from the Southwest TV Translator Association.
If you have a news topic or event you'd like to see covered, give us a call. The studio number is 677-4119.
Today's show runs Thursday at noon and 3 and 6 p.m. and again is re-aired later throughout the weekend. Today is April 26, 2018. And now, the news at noon.
Reported by the Cortez Journal with a photo from the Journal. A 26-year-old man who died last November in the La Plata County Jail suffered a bruise that led to a blood clot that ultimately caused his death, but authorities are unsure how the man became injured. Vicente Lucero was let out of his cell the morning of November 3rd and soon after collapsed in a common area of the cell block. He was pronounced dead at Mercy Regional Medical Center about 7:30 a.m. Lucero was being held on suspicion of burglary and assault after reportedly walking naked and threatening to kill people in the 8100 block of County Road 203 north of Durango in the Animas Valley. When deputies responded, Lucero ran into a woman's house and locked the door. When she ran out the back door, he threw the woman against a post, which resulted in injuries to the woman that required hospitalization. Lucero then fled the house and ran to Hermosa Creek. He sat in the middle of the creek for 20 minutes before he was taken into custody. Lucero was in jail for 8 days before he collapsed. According to a final autopsy report, a bruise on his leg formed a blood clot and then moved into his lungs. La Plata County Coroner Jan Smith ruled the death natural. Smith said there was no record of Lucero having bruises at the time he was booked into La Plata County Jail. She said it appeared the bruises had been there for a few days before Lucero collapsed and died.
From the Durango Herald, photo Jerry McBride. Durango City Council supported a new ordinance during a work session this past Tuesday night that would prohibit sitting or lying on sidewalks or in alleys downtown. The proposal has been controversial recently, but the council was united in its support. The four councilors present said they want to improve safety downtown. I think this is a step that is reasonable for us to take, Councilor Dick White said, but it will also require enforcement and education. Councilor Melissa Youssef said the new ordinance would give police a tool to keep streets safe and to ensure downtown Durango is welcoming to tourists. I'm under the assumption it would protect our economic viability, she said. Mayor Sweetie Marbury encouraged staff members to accelerate the process for adopting the ordinance, and the group discussed a schedule that would allow the new law to take effect in June. She said she was particularly concerned about the obstruction those sitting or lying on the sidewalk posed to seniors and people with baby strollers. Councilors also provided City Attorney Dirk Nelson direction on some details they would like in the ordinance. Sitting and lying on the sidewalk could be prohibited from the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad Depot to 14th Street and from Narrow Gauge Avenue to the alley east of Main Avenue. It could also be prohibited on East 2nd Avenue from 7th to 9th Streets. Councilors agreed if passed, the ordinance would be in effect from 7 a.m. until 2:30 a.m. to help protect those who work late downtown. Nelson encouraged councilors to narrow a ban on sitting and lying so it would also address sidewalk congestion. Councilors also supported exceptions for those with medical issues, children in strollers, and those watching parades or attending other public events such as Taste of Durango. Another exception would be sitting at outdoor bistros and public benches. The law would be modeled on ordinances in effect in Tempe, Arizona, and Seattle that have held up in federal court because they apply to everyone, Nelson said. Mark Silverstein, legal director of the Colorado American Civil Liberties Union, said Durango's proposed law mirrors efforts in other cities to clear out panhandlers, and he questioned whether the ordinance would address a true safety issue. Sitting is a harmless behavior. It's not a crime, he said in an interview last week. Panhandling is also protected by the First Amendment. The ACLU sent a letter to the city in 2014 informing it that an ordinance prohibiting loitering for purposes of begging violated freedom of speech rights. After that, panhandling became more visible downtown. Since then, the city has adopted an ordinance prohibiting aggressive panhandling. For example, panhandlers are prohibited from touching anyone, following anyone, speaking fighting words, and blocking someone's way. The city also forbids obstructing the sidewalk, Nelson said. City Council may hold a public hearing on the sit-lie ordinance on May 15th.
According to the Cortez Journal, with a photo from San Juan Basin Public Health, the Montezuma County Commission has upheld additional regulations for septic systems in their county, despite efforts by one commissioner to revoke them. After a hearing April 2nd, the commissioners voted 3-0 to approve a county health department request for additional oversight and inspections for on-site wastewater treatment systems. The new rules are intended to prevent pollution from failing septic systems and protect the public and water sources, said Melissa Matthews, the county's environmental health specialist. They include more regular oversight for new systems and create a program that requires inspections of septic systems when a property is sold, which could result in corrective actions. The oversight program is set to kick in May, and the transfer of property inspection program will begin in January 2019. The new title transfer program that inspects septic systems before property is sold targets older designs that may be failing and need fixing. A new fee system will be implemented to help cover costs. Since 2004, the county has required septic systems be designed by a certified engineer. Matthews said older systems have a higher risk of failure, a situation that is happening in the county. The new regulations also provide the health department an opportunity to locate and inspect older systems put in before 1972, when the county began issuing septic system permits. According to health department data, in 2017 there were 12 recorded septic failures in the county, 6 of which were installed before 1972. In 2018, there have been 13 septic failures, 3 of which were installed before 1972. The new septic regulations will also provide critical information for property buyers in the county, Matthews said.
From the Cannabis.co photo AP file, a bill that creates a lane for the prescribing of FDA-approved CBD medicines in Colorado is now on the road to the governor's desk. The state Senate on Tuesday morning unanimously passed House Bill 1187, which would allow for doctors to prescribe and pharmacies to dispense Epidiolex, a cannabidiol-based pharmaceutical drug for rare seizure disorders. Epidiolex is likely weeks away from becoming the first U.S. FDA-approved medicine containing plant-derived cannabis compounds. Epidiolex's maker, Greenwich Biosciences, the U.S. subsidiary of London-based GW Pharmaceuticals, is the primary backer of House Bill 1187. The bill was introduced to address a state statute that prevented pharmacies from dispensing cannabis products. In the months since its drafting and introduction, the bill underwent some surgery after several community stakeholder meetings. Members of Colorado's marijuana and industrial hemp industries expressed heightened concern that the bill, if successful, could allow GW to run roughshod over the state's emerging multi-million-dollar CBD extracts industry. The bill that passed Tuesday included language specifically stating that the provisions should not be construed so as to prohibit, preclude, or otherwise affect previously authorized activities concerning products derived from marijuana, industrial hemp, or other lawful sources which contain cannabinoids, but which are not a prescription medicine approved by the United States Food and Drug Administration. Greenwich is pleased that this bill is going to allow patients with 2 catastrophic forms of epilepsy to have access to our CBD medicine should the FDA decide to approve it, Steve Schultz, a spokesman for GW and Greenwich, said in their statement. Garrett Graff, an attorney with Denver-based cannabis firm Hoban Law Group, previously told The Cannabis that the amended bill does not address concerns raised by the existing cannabis industry. Quote, our interests are to ensure the creation of that third swim lane for pharmaceutical CBD, that it does not affect the pre-existing swim lanes for marijuana and industrial hemp, he said.
Reported by the Cortez Journal with a photo from the AP file, a bill that easily passed the Colorado Senate and awaits a hearing in the House would prevent the press and other outside watchdogs from figuring out why children died. Senate Bill 223 would automatically seal autopsy reports for minors except for families, government-sanctioned review boards, organ donation groups, and civil or criminal lawyers with a direct involvement. The need for the legislation, say its sponsors and the Colorado Coroners Association, is to protect the privacy of victims' families and keep information from other children to prevent copycat suicides. Jeffrey Roberts, executive director of the Colorado Freedom of Information Coalition, told Colorado Politics he respects the need for privacy for the families, but there is a bigger issue. In 2012, the Denver Post and 9 News relied on autopsy reports for an exhaustive project examining the deaths of 72 children after the children's circumstances were known to social service agencies. The series, called Failed to Death, led to legislative deliberations and reforms. Opponents also note that under current law, records remain private if they are part of an active law enforcement investigation and could be sealed by the courts after that. The autopsies of 13 victims and shooters who died in the Columbine High School massacre in 1999 were sealed until a federal lawsuit in 2001 brought by the family of victim Daniel Rohrbaugh. His family alleged the 15-year-old was accidentally shot by a SWAT officer. The police were cleared. Emma Hall and Robert Glasmeyer, coroners for Boulder and Garfield counties respectively, told the committee that autopsy reports also include medical information that isn't normally made public. Durango Herald reporter Jonathan Romero contributed to this report. And now let's take a look at the weather.
The national weather map from NOAA is indicating a band of rain and thunderstorms continues to hover over most of the south through the Appalachians and up to Maine as the series of low-pressure fronts make their way off the coastline. Behind that, a pattern of snow and rain lingers over the Great Lakes, while back south, Oklahoma is experiencing their predictable spring rains and thunderstorms with potentials for gusty winds. A low pressure further west is bringing up the rear on those patterns, leaving behind just a bit of snow potential in the Rockies of Wyoming and northern Colorado, where they're already seeing snowpacks above 100%. Further to the west, some thunderstorms in northern California and along the Pacific Northwest coastal line ahead of the next moisture to potential ride in from the Pacific at the end of the week. Regionally, there's not much to report on for today. Mostly sunny and warm in the Four Corners area and dry. The grass pollen is high in the New Mexico corner and low over near southeastern Utah, so it just depends where you are for allergies kicking up. However, the UV index today is set to be high to very high, so let's get right into our local DCTV 5-day outlook. Today, sunny with a high near 70. North winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. Tonight, clear with a low around 31. North winds 5 to 15 miles an hour becoming southeast after midnight. Friday, sunny with a high near 71 degrees. Southeast winds 10 to 15 miles an hour becoming southwest in the afternoon. Friday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 45 degrees. Southwest winds 5 to 10 miles an hour becoming southeast after midnight. Saturday, we hit that 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Partly sunny with a high near 72. South-southwest winds 5 to 15 miles an hour. Saturday night, again a 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms before midnight. Partly cloudy with a low around 44 degrees. Then Sunday, mostly sunny with a high near 69. Breezy. Sunday night, partly cloudy with a low around 41 and breezy. And into next work week, Monday, mostly sunny with a high near 62. Monday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 39. And Tuesday, mostly to partly sunny with a high near 61 degrees. And Tuesday night, mostly cloudy with a low down to 37. And now, back to the news.
According to the Durango Herald, with a photo from the Associated Press, the number of prescriptions for opioid painkillers filled in the U.S. fell dramatically last year, showing their biggest drop in 25 years and continuing a decline amid increasing legal restrictions and public awareness of the dangers of addiction, new data show. Health data firm IQVIA's Institute for Human Data Science released a report Thursday showing an 8.9% average drop nationwide in the number of prescriptions for opioids filled by retail and mail-order pharmacies. All 50 states and the District of Columbia had declines of more than 5%. Declines topped 10% in 18 states, including all of New England and other states hit hard by the opioid overdose epidemic, such as West Virginia and Pennsylvania. There was an even greater drop in total dosage of opioid prescriptions filled in 2017, down 12% from 2016. Reasons for that include more prescriptions being of a shorter duration, a 7.8% decline in new patients starting on opioid prescriptions, and far fewer high-dose prescriptions. Opioid doses are measured in morphine milligram equivalents. A standard Vicodin pill has the equivalent of 5 milligrams of morphine. Prescriptions for dosages of 90 morphine milligram equivalents per day or more, which carry the highest addiction risk, declined by 16% last year, according to the report. The U.S. is estimated to consume roughly 30% of all opioids used worldwide. Opioid prescriptions and daily doses rose steadily starting in the 1990s, fueled by factors including marketing of new opioid pills, such as OxyContin, use peaked in 2011 at levels far above those in other wealthy countries where national health systems control narcotics more aggressively. The U.S. decline began after overdoses and deaths from prescription opioids and illicit narcotics soared, and multiple groups pushed back.
From the Aspen Daily News, the Snowmass Village Marketing, Group Sales, and Special Events Board does not oppose the establishment of retail and medical marijuana shops in Snowmass Village, as long as they are regulated and operate in inconspicuous locations. The Town Council had asked the board to offer input on pot sales within Snowmass Village, which has had a moratorium in place almost since Colorado in 2012 voted to legalize sales of recreational marijuana through Amendment 64. The state measure includes an opt-out clause for communities. The town's moratorium is set to expire in October after several extensions, at which time council may decide to allow local sales, ban them outright, or ask voters to make the final decision. The marketing board decided April 19th by a vote of 5-1, with board member Christian Knapp, a vice president of Aspen Skiing Company, as the lone dissenter, to pass its recommendation on to the council. And while Knapp said there didn't appear to be detrimental effects from proliferation of pot stores in Aspen, we do believe the family-friendly nature of Snowmass is a differentiator. A community questionnaire that closed in January found that 53.6% of 540 valid respondents believed that marijuana establishments should not be licensed in Snowmass Village, according to information provided by Travis Elliott, assistant to the town manager. The survey found that 55% of year-round residents favored local marijuana establishments, while 71% of part-time residents were for the continued prohibition. Broken out by age, the results show that those 49 years old and younger favor retail establishments, while the majority of those 50 and older are against Snowmass pot shops. Two members of the marketing board who work in the local lodging business said it's obvious guests are using pot in both smoking forms and edibles based upon feedback from employees who frequently get asked whether a dispensary operates in Snowmass Village. From a business standpoint, I think Snowmass is losing a lot of town revenue from it, Harris added. The majority of the board members who favor allowing pot sales suggested that stores not be able to locate within the main retail traffic areas and should also feature unobtrusive signage. Cinco stressed that if council decides marijuana sales should be allowed in Snowmass Village, the stores should be located in an inconspicuous place. Like Sura, he doesn't advocate an election on the matter, but I believe there should be restrictions, including limits on signage.
Reported by the Durango Herald, federal officials have recommended a new vaccine that is more effective than an earlier version at protecting older adults against a painful rash called shingles. But persuading many adults to get this and other recommended vaccines continues to be an uphill battle, physicians and vaccine experts say. The new schedule for adult vaccines for people ages 19 and older was published in February following a recommendation by the Federal Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices and subsequent approval by the director of the CDC. The most significant change was to recommend the shingles vaccine that was approved by the Food and Drug Administration last fall over an older version of the vaccine. The new vaccine, Shingrix, should be given in 2 doses before 2 and 6 months apart, between 2 and 6 months apart, to adults who are at least 50 years old. The older vaccine, Zostavax, can still be given to adults who are 60 or older, but Shingrix is preferred, according to the CDC. In clinical trials, Shingrix was 96.6% effective in adults ages 50 to 59, while Zostavax was 70% effective. The differences were even more marked with age. Effectiveness in adults 70 and older was 91.3% for Shingrix, compared with 38% for Zostavax. Shingrix also provided longer-lasting protection than Zostavax, whose effectiveness waned after the first year. The guidelines suggest that people who already had the Zostavax shot be revaccinated with Shingrix.
In the news category for Weird and Lucky Guy, KDVR reported on the story that a Colorado man attacked by a shark in Hawaii earlier this week had earlier encounters with a bear and rattlesnake. This, the Honolulu Star-Advertiser reported, photo credit to KDVR. Dylan McWilliams, age 20 of Grand Junction, Colorado, was bitten by a shark a week ago while swimming off the island of Kauai. He suffered several cuts to his leg that can be seen in one of his recent Facebook posts. McWilliams said he believes a tiger shark bit him. That was the scariest part. I didn't know where the shark was, and I didn't know if he would come after me again, he told the Star Advertiser. This was not McWilliams' first painful bite from a wild animal. In fact, it was his third. In July, he was attacked by a bear in Colorado. The bear bit his skull, grabbed his head, and dragged him about 12 feet from where he was sleeping. The bear was later euthanized. The Star Advertiser reported McWilliams was also bitten by a rattlesnake while hiking in Utah about 3.5 years ago. My parents are grateful I'm still alive, he told the newspaper. He's either very lucky or should just stay inside.
And now for the Dolores County Sheriff's Roundup for the week of April 15th through the 22nd. A report of cows out on a county road. Received a report of subjects dumping trash in city dumpsters. It's under investigation. Received a report of fraud by a local resident. Cases under investigation. Sheriff's Office received a report from a local resident of people dumping trash on BLM land. That concludes today's roundup. Stay tuned for continued updates.
And today's High Canyon Country happenings. April 27th in Mancos, it's Living with Wildfire, resource fair, Firewise auction, and dance party. It's $8 for early bird or $10 at the door, and 16 and younger are free. Montezuma County has eliminated support for the Firewise Neighborhood Ambassador Program, which provides wildfire education and technical support to help residents prepare for wildfires. To address this shortfall, Firewise of Southwest Colorado is hosting Living with Wildfire as a resource and educational fair and fundraiser. The event will include educational booths, demonstrations, live bands, dancing, and live and silent auctions. The event features the Colorado State Forest Service, Smokey the Bear, wildfire professionals, educational booths, demonstrations, and kids activities. Live dance music will be provided by Karut Roma and the Afro Beatniks. The Mancos Brewery has created a special Underwood lager for this event, and $1 from each pint will go to help support Firewise education programs in Montezuma County. If you'd like to volunteer prior to the day of the event or have an auction item to contribute, please contact Amanda at Amanda Brenner Cannon at mcfirewise@gmail.com or call her at 970-364-3473. And the Durango Chamber of Commerce will host its 4th annual technology conference on Friday, April 27th at the Doubletree Hotel in Durango, featuring keynote speaker Michael Gnest, retired NASA engineer. The event runs from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tickets are available online at bizabo.com. And if you want to get out and about for the weekend, April 27th at the newly refurbished Sherbino Theater in Ridgeway, the Stray Grass will be performing from 7 to 10 p.m. It's hosted by the Alpenglow Arts Alliance. Stray Grass brings handcrafted acoustic Americana. It's just $12 at the door. Stray Grass specializes in a high-energy interpretation of acoustic music. Although played on traditional instruments, the musical stylings of Stray Grass are anything but traditional. All of these happenings are posted up on our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, along with the YouTube replays, weather, and original stories and local posts. To share your event or information, contact us by email, dcbnnews@gmail.com, or call the station 970-677-4119, and we'll be sure to get your news on air.
Thanks for tuning in. News at Noon airs at noon Monday through Thursday and then is rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m. on each of those days. The weekday news shows are then replayed throughout the weekend as well.
That's if the system is working. And be sure to check us out on Facebook. It's DCTV News at Noon. Please like us there and share it with a friend.
For Kendra Cook with DCTV and the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. Thanks for watching.